threatening.
No, and that's why, but I did say, we need to remove this profile because they are going after a minor now.
Oh, you get serious.
And I'm like, talk to your daughter, she would tell you that my daughter is not like this person.
No, I
is
know
trying to
better,
say.
I know better. But that was just low, that was really low when I saw that.
Yeah. Well, but, you know, it's all for the kids.
That was a terrible comment.
Oh.
Still has those.
They're all, they're two peas in a pod, I'm telling you. Look at those crazy things. We have a budget surplus, I don't know, for the past 10 years, it's been at least $1 million surplus, so. I have $600,000 sitting in the transportation reserve for what? I don't understand why we were talking about traffic increases and all this stuff. I mean, always have $1 million or more surplus. And $600,000 in the transportation reserve that we're going to sell off with leads. We don't need that $600,000. So why do we need to raise taxes? Oh, yeah, we don't. I can't do that. They took off the ACT plan.
Because it's an election.
Right. Well, that's exactly what I said. They support 1% when it wasn't an election year. And now that it is an election year, they don't support it.
You know what I love?
But how much of a surplus did they put to ACT?
Suzanne, you know what I love? Honestly. People that just start showing up to board meetings and never shown up before, and they think they can change this board. They're not going to change anything. They might as well go home, eat TV dinners, and watch TV. Because this board's going to do what this board does. Regardless. And you know that for a fact. They're going to come in here, sit there, and disagree with them and start doing the same stuff.
No, she's got to make sure they hold them accountable, not rubber stamp anything. That's what she said.
They're not doing anything. Everybody on this board is corrupt. Everyone except me. Everyone.
No, they just don't get along and vote
And
the
if
same
you
way.
get along with them, you're corrupt. Because the dirty stays with the dirty.
Nah, we're the problem.
No, why did Fred quit? Why did Fred Miller quit? Because he's too daggone honest. He couldn't stand how corrupt this board is. And if you think you're going to come into this board and change it, you better go back home.
No, they rewrote why he quit, right? Why did they say he quit?
Personal reasons. No, he left because this board destroyed him, including Janelle Ressler. That's why he left. And anybody that walks in here and thinks they're going to sit in one of these seats and change anything in this district is mistaken. Because these people are evil and they're corrupt. That's for sure. You're not going to change anything on this board. They'll just go along with it, just like Mary and Danielle. They get GO mail sent to their house, and all of a sudden now they're in bed with them.
They tried to intimidate me.
They'll send GO mail to your house. Oh yeah, send GO mail.
I know, they tried to intimidate me with an anonymous letter.
Yeah, they did you, they did me. I don't really care, but yeah, that's what they do.
Doesn't stop me.
Yeah.
So then they go after my kid.
So they're going to run for a free job, spend all this time, and they think they're going to change something. Good luck with that. So I'm telling you, wait 2 years, they'll be exactly the same.
Donna, aren't you so,
I'm sorry?
aren't you so motivated?
Yeah, I'm almost falling asleep back here.
He's giving his motivational speech up here for you.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's true. I thought this board was corrupt before I came on. When I came on, I realized it's worse than what I thought. They are literally corrupt. So corrupt that the solicitor left. That's how corrupt they are.
And then they got the child porn solicitor.
Yeah, then he got the child porn solicitor. That worked out well. Used him to stop me from being a volunteer. So imagine this. So a guy with child porn was used to stop me from being a volunteer. Yeah, good one. That's a good one. I can't wait for that to hit the road. Yeah, that was smart. Yeah, these people are great. I have no respect for any of them because of that. Because they're evil.
Can't they have these executive sessions when they're not wasting the public time?
somebody. So he's already got somebody loved on that's running.
They just take, well, they just back to have a candy bar. Change your vote.
Remember, you can vote in FP&S meeting.
They'll give her a candy bar, she'll pay. Right, you just hear it right there.
I probably should have spoke that at the podium, sorry.
When did they go to executive session? How long?
Well, you shut your camera off.
Yeah, but I don't know how long it's
I can tell you as soon as the video's done, because it's still on.
Mine's still on, but I have the display doesn't work, so I don't know how long it's been on.
Probably you can't see it. I don't even know what you're saying. What? No. Is that publicized to me? Did they say we do?
Or he asked for personnel matter related.
All right, we're back in session of the meeting.
Okay, I guess is there any other follow-up, I guess, with this autism classroom?
Well, I do. So would we offer up the 3 open positions so that we could kind of recoup some costs here?
Yeah,
And we would do that the first year.
I don't have a problem with that, I won't do it. Yeah, because I know some of the other districts are looking for spaces.
So we could put that, and how much would we charge for each student?
We charge at cost. We follow some of the other, we charge at cost for whatever the individual, the teacher, TAs would cost. So their salary and benefits estimated here, so whatever the actual would be would drill that down, and we have usually a 5% admin fee of us just taking care of like Dr. Gass's time, my time, the ability people and stuff. So that's usually the only added factor of 5% admin fee.
But if we get to
Otherwise,
set our own costs.
It is at the cost of whatever the teacher would be. So if the teacher's at a B1 rate, they're going to be there. If they're at a master's 15 years, they're going to be a different rate. So it just depends on what the skill level of the teacher we hire. The teaching assistants will be a flat, they are at their entry level.
Is there a law that dictates what we can charge other districts for it, or does the district need to set our own laws?
So, for example, for Union, right now, Union, Fairfield, Upper Adams, they have their, because they've been doing this for several years, they have their classes. So they have their own costs. And that's usually what we follow as a county. We've been sharing kids, so we try to keep our costs similar to each other, to support each other.
I would say the philosophy is they're charging us at cost. Why would we try to do an upcharge and then they upcharge us for us to upcharge each
And
other?
they're charging 20,000? Is that what you said you budgeted?
We said Springbrook was 30, some of the Adams County charges 10. It depends on the classroom and the teacher and what they have agreed to extend.
But if we went over to the 30, we would be paying 30. If we were going over to the 15,
Right.
we'd be paying 15.
So we
It's just-
estimate
it's-
that.
Yeah.
And if
we got charged, they're gonna charge us.
So
But
you,
what I'm hearing you say is that the board and the district need to set the price for what we charge other districts to those students.
well, we're not going to do it.
Well, we're not yet.
We're not going to charge you money.
But I'm saying, I'm just trying to figure out, is there a law that dictates it, or does each district get to set the price?
They do get to set their price, and
It's
common
reasonable
practice,
question, right?
common practice is because what's gonna happen is a fellow business manager, so say we get a kid from Gettysburg, they're gonna wanna break down what our costs entail. And I'm gonna have to give them basically an itemized that says, here's what the teacher cost is, here's what the TA cost is, here's a flat admin fee. And they'll say yes or no, they can fight us and say,
Or
we're not gonna pay.
Well, it sounds like everybody else is full, but you said there's some districts that are still looking for spots then, so we can easily fill those other 3 potentially,
Two.
which would also offset. Oh, yeah, 2, we're up to 6 now, I'm sorry.
You might want to get to 8 by
Typically, it's easier to have the classroom to bring
No, I get it.
children in than to find a classroom to place the children. So we would be on the I guess, the opposite side, we be able to receive some children here at the district, which is a lot easier because other districts are in somewhat the same, similar scenarios as looking for placements as kids get identified or coming in and out of the district.
So we all agree that it's something we need to do. We all agree that we can.
So we'll pause on the.
If we have the spot, we have other students from other districts coming to use this classroom. But we do have money already in the budget, so it's not $275.
So the financing options will pause here. We'll circle back on that. So obviously, yes, we have the tax increase. We have if the district or the FP&S committee has the same option as above for the fund balance. We have what we're going to go into next is the homestead farmstead. So there's a bunch of options. In particular, this is just, that's what I wanted to signal here is what this would cost as a tax increase. So we'll jump into homestead farmstead, which is different here, and then we'll circle back and get a recommendation from the committee on the office and classroom, either to proceed, to pause, or whatever. So the property tax relief, that comes in, gets certified, I forget, sometime in April by the county, and then it goes to the state, and then they issue out basically the bucket of money. It comes from gambling money that gets rerouted to homeowners as tax relief, property tax relief, which we all know as homestead farmstead.
And you just got this information.
So May 1st, they issue that from the state. It tells us what the pot of money is, and then what our share of that pot of money is. And I have a formula and calculations that says, based off of certified homes, which is the 4,410 homes, and the pot of money, some homes don't qualify because they can't get a refund because their assessed value is lower than what would be mitigated. So that pot of money gets back in and recalculated, so there's nothing left. So that comes out at a 0%. So every tax increase changes that because it does factor in your millage rate. So whatever we raise in our millage rate would factor that in, which is in the next slide. So $358.09 would be for 25-26. And you can see historically what we've had. So 21-22, prior to that, it was stagnant. That 896 was stagnant for a long time. And then starting 22-23, we saw significant, you can see significant increases to this property tax rate. And as far as I'm aware, this will continue to happen as long as the gambling revenue continues to grow.
One of the best observations I can see from this town is that we have an increase in the number of homes that are taking advantage of the homestead farmstead.
Correct. So this could be some Mayberry homes that are added in. This could be people just buying lots and building homes. Some who didn't know they qualifying. So that's just kind of that conversation piece we always talk about. If it's your primary residence, you qualify. That's essentially it. You just have to fill out the county districts.
Who?
Both of you keep,
I'm not speaking
you're
at all.
both whispering with people.
I was not speaking. Please do not accuse me. I was listening to people clapping back there.
So we'll jump to the next section of the property or the homestead farmstead. So as in comparison, what last year's was, so it's $310.95 per qualified home. This year, I said $358.09. You have it out there as 0%. So let's break it down. That's additional money back to the homeowner. So it's 0%, 1%, 2%. Those are just to show what it would cost, what it looks like per increase. And then if we take the average home, which we've always said was 280, turn 8,000, that equates to approximately 1.24. It's a little above it, but we don't normally go multiple digits beyond the two digits there. So 1.24 would be what a $280,000 home, what this homestead farmstead would have needed previously. Which if it raised 1.24%, it would essentially be a wash for that $280,000 home. If it's below the 280, they obviously get more money back, and if it's above, they would actually pay more money. That's kind of how that flows. And this is no exception, 70%. Even though we saw growth in homes, it's still about 70% of our total tax base are qualified and will receive money back from the homestead. If there's any questions on that, how that money comes in, It is a, I will say, it is a net neutral for the district, so every dollar that the state gives us, we give back to the taxpayers. We do not keep any, if we do keep any, it has to go back into a pot for the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and we just keep putting it back in, forward. So we can hold it, it's usually, if it is, it's less than $10, because of the maximum exact thing. So I just wanted to make that note, that's where I added it in here to this tax increase, so the 1.24 you can see is 4701, which is slightly less than what I said, that 37.16 cents. So that's why I added that marker in there to show where that would be placed. And the district does have the authority of up to 5.2% this year. So we'll jump into this portion and we'll circle back to the autism. This is kind of the last discussion piece. So 24-25, this was approved last June for this current fiscal year. 25-26, this is the budget as of today without the technology and autism classroom in it. That's what if the board would decide not to move forward with zero, and that's where the budget would sit as of today. One of the things was pending items was the healthcare. That did come back at the estimated 10%. We did lock that in, so that was no change in the budget, which is actually a good thing. We were originally seeking a higher amount, so that actually came down in that our budget threshold. So as a technology, these are just visuals to show if we would raise and add in the technology, which we already have. This is going to be the new expenditure, but we're still sitting at this revenue because we are attributing fund balance, which is not going to increase our revenue. So then we have to discuss about the autism classroom. If we add in the $275,000, it would be here, and then if we would add any tax increase, if we would do a 1-to-1, so 1.53, it would come here, and you can see the deficit kind of stays the same because we're only 1-to-1 matching what we've increased. And then if we would do both and do that tax increase, and that's kind of visual, so you can see if you chose an expense without a revenue, it would default back to this as the baseline. So I guess with the information we have here between homestead, farmstead, that it's essentially a requirement here for, essentially it is a requirement to have this classroom because there's no other option to educate these students coming in. What would be a financing option recommendation from the committee? Because I believe I've heard that it's we're going to move forward. Okay, so what's the financing then? Now let's move forward. I believe that's the only thing that me that it's not moving forward, at least from this committee level.
So what I'm hearing you saying is you're asking the committee for a recommendation, but the one thing that's not listed there is the pool from federal fund.
Yeah, so the conversation piece was we could take it for this year and say we're going to take the 275 out of fund balance, and we'll revisit again next year and keep going, because it is going to be a recurring. So we're going to have to keep revisiting until we have a solution that says, okay, we can absorb it in, whatever it means, we can do something. So that's something that we can wait and see method. We can say we want to be proactive, we want to raise the taxes to meet this classroom, and it'll essentially follow that through to this classroom for the district. Or we can say we want to match homestead, farmstead. We could do a mixture of anything from 0 to 5.2% essentially.
But here's my issue, and you know what I'm gonna say. We have a history of doing these deficits, having surplus, we just have 3.7 million. We know the money's there. We can almost guarantee you when we do this audit, there's gonna be a surplus. We can get potentially 2 students from other school districts coming in to help offset some of that. You say 275, we already have something in the budget for it. And I think we should see how it goes for the first year and go from there, because, you know, to continue to raise taxes when we know we always have a surplus, I just don't think it's right. That's me.
So I guess from my standpoint, I mean, I hear this year, I say for, obviously this budget season is coming somewhat to a close, so we have subsequent budget season. So I guess is the understanding that as long as there's surplus, are we waiting until there's a time that we are in a deficit,
No.
true deficit, signal of tax rates?
But we have so many things that houses are being built, we're gonna sell the middle
But
school, I mean.
don't count on what hasn't been done.
I'm
telling you,
just,
the
I'm
economy
just,
is
I
trying
always
I'm
do
saying,
it.
I know, he's saying,
We're not gonna sell
but he's
more
saying
houses.
that this is definitely gonna happen.
I make 3 to 5 year models. I just need to know where the board's at to continue to make models, where the headspace is. The prior boards were always, we want slow, steady increases to meet the needs and the growth of the district. Because
But
the
then
new
we end
board,
up with $3.7 million surplus that we had to
I would
use.
say that is circumstantial about what happened in that time frame. We got extraordinarily high revenues that nobody could predict. All districts saw a unreasonable surplus because of the federal funding we got.
And
The
let's,
supplement.
I'm for zero, honestly, but I think we got to put money